Good morning, Mike. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Arrow. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. Okay, from one creative person to another one, I got to ask you, when you are, on this book tour today, I can't imagine what it's like for you to reopen your heart to things that have happened to you in the past. How are you holding up? And I have that kind of compassion for you because you're bearing your soul to a lot of people.
Yes, although I got to tell you, Arrow, every single person that interviews me or talks to me about this book is so kind and so caring and interested that it really is. This isn't the hard part. The hard part was writing the book.
Yep.
That was the hard part. Talking about it subsequently is not so hard. Like I said, partly because people are so kind and so genuinely interested and want to know. Oh, tell us about this and tell us about that. So I don't find this to be too wearying.
My daughter lived in L.A. Just a couple of blocks from the big blue building, and you know what I'm talking about. And it was one of those things where I would walk by there because I wanted to feel the energy. And the thing is that today that energy is we're finding a deeper truth. And I love the fact that you're coming out with your journey so that others can become aware.
Well, I appreciate that, and that is exactly what the purpose of this book is. I mean, the introduction of the book is a letter to my children because I brought two children into the world of Scientology and the C organization, which is the inner sanctum of the Scientology hierarchy. And I want them and generally people to know what Scientology really is and what the pitfalls are and what the dangers are and how you get into the mind prison and ultimately how you can escape. So I appreciate that because that really is why I do what I do. I don't want others to, you can believe anything you want, Aaron.
Right.
Anybody has a right to believe anything they want. They don't have a right to do anything that they want. And Scientology is an abusive organization that abuses a lot of people, and I don't want anybody else to be abused by Scientology.
With Scientology out, what has filled the void? Was there something that you grew with and grew toward?
No, not really. I honestly, the most important thing to me at this point in my life, and since I've left Scientology, is my friends and the new family that I have built. And I never had that. I had friends, but they were all friends conditional upon being in Scientology. Now I have friends who are unconditional friends. I had a family, but the family was conditioned upon being a Scientologist. I now have a family that has no conditions attached to it at all. And that is what fills the void in my life that was created when I left Scientology.
When those voices in your heart were saying something doesn't feel right, how did you deal with that? I'm a daily writer. I listen to those voices, and sometimes those voices get too loud. What about you?
Well, those voices were in my head for a long time, and I talk about this in the book at some length. As my seeds of doubt grew, the opposing voice is, but, and there's a lot of buts in Scientology, but this means I will lose my family, but this means I will lose my eternity, but this means, and a lot of things swirl through your mind, and it took me a long time to get to the point where I went, there's no but that is bigger or overcomes the fact that this life I am living and leading is crap. It is not what I envisaged. It's not what I sought when I was, joining the Sea Org. It's not what I came into Scientology or the Sea Org for. I'm doing absolutely nothing remotely like what I think I should be doing. So I'm going to go start something new. And that's another message I hope that this book communicates to people, which is it's never too late to change your life.
The book we're talking about is A Billion Years, My Escape from a Life in the Higher Ranks of Scientology. At any time during your process of growing away, did you ever have one of those moments where you wanted to maybe be on the outside looking in? And I'll explain that a little bit more. I grew too close to my church. Therefore, I stepped on the outside. I don't go into the physical building, but I still do connect through internet.
No, I don't think so, Arrow. My experience was more, okay, I'm inside this bubble of Scientology, and eventually when I decided I've got to escape, I was outside that bubble, like with a step over the threshold of the doorstep of a building in London, England, where I had been working for Scientology. And when I took that step, I was suddenly outside of that bubble, and I never looked back to that other than from the perspective of how do I let the world know what's going on inside there.
Have you been chased? I mean, we always hear about those stories that when you break free, you're being chased and people want to get you back in.
Yes, I have. I've been followed by private investigators. They've taken my garbage. They've set up cameras. They've put up smear sites. They've followed me to Ireland, to London, to Sydney, across the United States, to every city I've ever been to. Yes, it's a pretty constant price that or a burden that I bear. But I willingly bear that burden because I know that is the price of exposing what's really going on.
I could talk to you all day. And the thing listeners need to understand is that, Mike, that you have actually teamed up with Leah with your podcast. And I love listening to that podcast because the two of you and the way that you guys bring things together, it opens up a lot of hearts for people that are on the outside.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
But how difficult is it to talk about it like that? Because like I said, I'm somebody who lives in the present. Stepping back in my past is like, I don't want to go back there, but you guys are able to do that.
Yeah, honestly, Arrow, that can be taxing. Mm-hmm. You can only do so much of that, and then you have to go out and take a walk, and then you have to go, sit and look at the sunset, or do something that is, like you say, in the present and brings you some peace and calm, because it is taxing to constantly have to go back and relive experiences so that others may not live them into the future.
Well, I see that Emmy Award behind you, so I want you to win more of those, okay? Because I know you've got that inner strength to keep growing in every direction.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You bet. You be brilliant today, okay, sir?
Yes. Have a great day, Aaron.
Thank you so much.
Great interview, dude.